Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 AdWheel Awards. And now, please welcome the Customer Service Director for the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District and the Vice Chair of APTA's Marketing and Communications Committee, Amy Snyder.
Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to APTA's 2018 AdWheel Awards ceremony and to Music City. I hope you are enjoying the conference and all that Nashville has to offer. Nashville is considered by many to be America's music capital. Singers and songwriters come here to tell the stories of people who are toiling to better their lives, affording the American dream. Communities are coming together to help one another, and even the freedom that comes with mobility. Public transportation shares many of these goals. We want to build affordable connections to opportunity and to the communities around us. And just like the most popular country stars, the successful public transportation systems are the ones that tell stories that connect to the public. Today we are gathered to honor and learn the stories of 8 APTA members picked by industry judges from more than 300 entries. These AdWheel Grand Award winners have 2018's best submissions from small, medium, and large transit agencies, plus our business members. Our winners here are divided into 2 categories. Up first are those with campaigns that made a positive impact on ridership or sales. The second group successfully educated their communities on public transportation issues. Now let's get down to business and give you a look at our 4 Grand Award winners for Best Campaign to Increase Ridership or Sales. Let's roll those videos.
McLennan County is a county located in central Texas, halfway between Dallas and Austin. It's home to an estimated 251,000 people and covers a span of 1,060 square miles. The McLennan County Rural Transit District, operated by Waco Transit System, was created to improve the mobility of rural residents and enhance access to jobs, education, healthcare, and more. The program offers appointment-based, door-to-door service that anyone can use to travel anywhere within McLennan or adjacent counties. MCRDT was a little more than a year old when we launched the Anyone, Anywhere campaign. Our aim was to develop effective video marketing tools that would help grow ridership by educating on the program's existence, ease of use, affordability, and tremendous benefit to McLennan County. We achieved this by working with the Waco City Cable Channel to create a high-quality 30-second TV commercial and full-length PSA, each produced in music video style format.
But we tried to scale it back and keep a very simple message, $3, anyone, anywhere. Get you to call our number. We could explain what transportation is suited for you.
Our partnership with Texas country music artist Holly Tucker further enhanced the success and popularity of each piece. Miss Tucker, who starred on NBC's The Voice, also wrote the campaign's featured song, Hometown Heart.
We're all connected by hometown heart. We're all connected by hometown heart. From the outside looking in, we couldn't be more different. But we're all connected by hometown heart.
Rural transportation is for anyone within McLennan County. Schedule your ride now by calling 254-750-1620.
Just 3 months after the campaign's launch, MCRDT saw a 44% increase in rural ridership compared to the same time period a year prior. The program grew so much that Waco Transit was forced to hire additional rural transit operators in order to meet the growing demand for service.
Well, they handle him with kid gloves care, and they're there on time, and they make sure he gets to work on time.
Rural ridership has increased above expectations, and those numbers are expected to rise even more as word continues to spread about the program.
Well, I think that we can easily double in size in regards to the amount of people that we move around our community. And I would like to see that happen in the next 2 or 3 years. Therefore, information campaigns are very important to us.
MCRDT has changed the dynamics of public transportation in McLennan County. Thank you to our transit colleagues and the American Public Transportation Association for this recognition. We are honored to receive this award.
Delaware. It may be small, but within its 3 counties, there's a lot of ground to cover. With nearly 8 million locals and tourists flocking to beach towns like Lewis, Rehoboth, and Bethany every year, when summertime comes, traffic and congestion continue to grow. That's where DART comes in. The Delaware Transit Corporation operates DART First State, offering a statewide network of transportation options, from bus routes to rail lines to ride-share programs. In May of 2017, we expanded service to include more frequent rides, broader service area, and extended hours. Along with it came the opening of a new park and ride, offering locals and tourists an alternative to the stresses of bumper-to-bumper traffic, hunting for parking spaces, and feeding meters. Now, using the state's existing bus-only lanes, beachgoers could dart right past traffic, straight to their destinations in air-conditioned, cost-effective style. But the new service needed a new name. So we rebranded the 26-year-old resort transit service as DART Beach Bus. The only thing left to do was spread the word. We launched a campaign using both traditional and non-traditional tactics, including an aggressive social media push that showcased all the great destinations that are only a beach bus ride away. The beach bus messaging was everywhere. Hotel keys, coasters, table tents, bus shelters, print ads, radio spots, and even lifeguard stands. If you were anywhere near the beach or the surrounding towns, you saw this campaign. The headlines incorporated the new brand name while highlighting the best that the beach has to offer and promising to get you there faster. It's a simple message, but it was a massive success. So how did it go? Well, the numbers speak for themselves. Thanks to our social media efforts, the campaign reached a staggering total of nearly 106,000 people, and Facebook posts had an engagement rate of 5.32%, far surpassing their goal of less than 1%. But awareness means nothing if people aren't riding, and boy, did they. Thanks to the reach and visibility of the campaign, we saw an unprecedented 21% increase in ridership. Most importantly, we didn't just spread the word about the beach bus. We made it genuinely easier to use, with new color-coded routes and easy-to-distinguish stops, as well as faster, more frequent rides to more places. We gave customers plenty of reasons not just to ride once, but to keep riding all summer long. That meant less traffic and congestion in beach areas and more time spent having fun. DART set out to change the way people travel to and around the beach area, and it worked. We spoke to our audience where they were most open to it, and they liked what we had to say. The campaign was smart, fun, and creative. It got cars off the road and got people where they needed to go, safely, quickly, and inexpensively. We'd call that a success.
TriMet provides public transportation throughout Portland, Oregon. Its service spans across 3 major counties, Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas, which help keep the region's growing population moving every single day. In July 2017, TriMet launched Hop Fast Pass, a new electronic fare system, with transit partners Portland Streetcar and C-Tran in Vancouver, Washington. Now, transit riders in the entire Portland-Vancouver metro area can pay for fare with a simple and seamless system. Just tap your Hop card and go. Leading up to launch, TriMet recognized that its biggest challenges with Hop Fast Pass would be asking users to change their daily riding habits and educating riders about the benefits of Hop, like fare capping and lost card protection. It took a few tries to get the messaging right, but over time, TriMet came up with a unique marketing strategy, combining traditional advertising tactics with out-of-the-box outreach, like the creation of fun mascots and retrofitting an old food truck into the Hopmobile. Since launch, TriMet has hosted more than 100 events to promote Hop and has partnered with many community-based organizations to hand out free fare cards. The agency also developed a HOP website and opened up a customer service hotline dedicated to HOP troubleshooting. Response to the new system has been positive. Users are happy with HOP's efficiency and ease of use. Overall, TriMet invested $180,000 on traditional advertising methods, which also included the translation of ads into Spanish for the region's bilingual communities. TriMet also invested $45,000 on transit ads and another $10,000 to boost social media posts in its owned channels. To date, there are more than 70,000 active HOP cards out on the market, and close to 80% are registered in the HOP FastPass system. In HOP's first year, there were more than 10 million taps onto the system. For TriMet, 20% of its riders now tap onto HOP, and that number only continues to grow.
We're Motor Coach Industries, MCI, now part of NFI Group, the largest transit bus and motor coach manufacturer in North America. We helped reshape the commuter landscape by building the very first wheelchair lift-equipped coach, a full 6 years before the Americans with Disabilities Act passed. The model, known today as the MCI D4500 commuter coach, a fixture in many public transit agencies, serving millions of riders on commuter rapid transit routes daily. Now, MCI sees a public transit future that includes commuters traveling further and older workers working longer with advancing mobility issues. To help serve a more diverse passenger demographic, MCI has launched its biggest breakthrough in accessibility yet, the MCI D45 CRT LE. MCI kept the new design under wraps until the blue curtain reveal at APTA's 2017 Expo in Atlanta. A 4-year undertaking, the top-secret project included working with BMW's Group Design Works, analyzing 32 potential concepts, and unlike anything ever done before in the 123-year history of the bus, engaged people with disabilities in the actual MCI D45 CRT LE design. So when it came time to introduce this revolutionary coach, MCI crafted a launch strategy for an APTA Expo unveil with teaser ads, e-blast invitations, and a stream of intriguing social media posts, including live feed video planned to record the event. On hand at the MCI and New Flyer booth were executives and a number of the engineers that brought the project to completion. Speakers included Kelly Buckland, Executive Director of the National Council of Independent Living, who uses a wheelchair and was part of the design evaluation team. MCI President Ian Smart welcomed the standing room only crowd, while an informative and inspiring video titled "What If" built suspense and revealed essential product detail. And then the curtain went up, and immediately, guests queued up to get on board, making it one of the most visited coach exhibits on the APTA floor for the entire show. From then on, prototype demos of the MCI D45 CRT LE have been crisscrossing the country in systems tests with high approval ratings from passengers. And its first order from Alberta's Bow Valley Regional Transit Services Commission has been signed for delivery in April 2019. We thank APTA and the industry judges for this award, as well as our MCI team members who made it possible. There's never been an unveiling quite like ours, and there's never been a commuter coach as accessible as the MCI D45 CRT LE.
Please give a big round of applause to all of our winners who increased ridership and sales. Before we bring our winners to the stage, I'd like to introduce our two panel moderators for this afternoon. Please help me welcome the chair of APTA's Marketing and Communications Committee and TriMet's Director of Communications and Marketing, J.C. Vanetta. Next, please welcome APTA's Marketing and Communications Committee Secretary and LA Metro's Chief Communications Officer, Pauletta Tanilis. Also joining, I'll pause for extra applause. It's well deserved. Also joining us to present the Grand Awards is a special guest. We are delighted to have with us today APTA's new chair and CDTA board member, David Stackrow. Please welcome David to the stage.
This is how we roll, this is how we ride. We're slanging up the mud, cutting through the countryside, baby, this is how we roll.
Winners will be asked to come to the stage for a photo, and then your panelists can take a seat in our interview set. Now, for our first Grand Award of the afternoon, chosen from systems with less than 4 million annual riders, please join me in welcoming to the stage Waco Transit System. Let's hear it for Waco Transit.
Here, you get me some. More.
Okay, let's go this way.
While they return to their seats, their panelists can stay on stage and take a seat over there where other panelists will join after their group picture is taken. Now, for the best campaign to increase ridership from the medium-sized systems, let's invite up the next Grand Award winner, the Delaware Transit Corporation. Thank you, Delaware DART. Moving right along, our next Grand Award is for the best campaign to increase ridership or sales by a transit system with more than 20 million annual riders. Today, JC is also representing our next winner, TriMet. Congratulations, TriMet. Now, for the final Grand Award for a campaign to increase ridership or sales, we have our business group representative, Motor Coach Industries. Come on up. bravo to the MCI team. Now that we have our first panel assembled, I will turn it over to Pauletta.
Thank you very much, Amy, and congratulations to all of you. Very inspiring to see the different levels of work that you guys have done, and so I'm pleased to be here to give each of you a chance to tell us a little bit about what was behind your campaign and the impacts and what's happened. So we're going to start with John. So Waco Transit, John, really thought outside the box when you thought about how to serve your rural customers. And so how has this been accepted, and what's been the impact on your organization so far?
Well, for Waco Transit System in McLennan County Rural Transit District, we really wanted to look at a way that we could engage the community and get the word out about anyone, anywhere. We wanted to keep it very simple, and that's how we came up with the anyone, anywhere. And what we did is we worked with a local celebrity, Holly Tucker, and asked her to help us. And it produced a 44% increase in ridership, and ridership is still double-digit increases as we speak today.
You know, one of the things I noticed about the music video and really the whole campaign is it really had this people-to-people connection. And it's all about people and invoking emotion, and I saw that in this music video. And so it had to have been very well received right away for you to have this kind of success.
I think it was very well received. A lot of people recognize Holly Tucker off of The Voice and all of the things that she's done. Waco Transit's been an integral part of the community for a long time. And so what we did is we took staff and you know, we created a vision and then took our staff, and most of the people that were in that video are all staff members of Waco Transit System, and they all got engaged and took ownership of this project, which made it have such a personal connection.
You know, it's almost like a micro transit operation on a smaller scale, providing that kind of convenience to folks. And so that probably is part of the success, is that people feel like it's a pseudo-customized kind of service for them. So how has that been, I think, shared with folks all across your area in terms of what that personal connection to transit can mean to them?
Well, when you look back at what our terms that we used, anyone, anywhere, we wanted to make it simple. So we wanted everybody to understand that it's anyone, anywhere within McLennan County. And by doing that, we realized that if we could get people to call in and talk to us, we could figure out what their transportation need was, whether it was a micro type transit, you know, a demand response type transit, or fixed route type transit. And by promoting it the way that we promoted it, we got a lot of calls in, and it's just been astronomical as the success that we've seen from it.
A 44% ridership increase is something that most of us just dream about. I mean, that's phenomenal. Is that far more than what you expected?
We were hoping for a 10 or 11, 12%, just barely over the double digit. And when we started seeing the 44% and the 50% and then the 23% each month, it just kept going up, and it was just amazing to see the ridership increase that we saw. We actually ended up having to hire more drivers to accommodate the demand that we were having, and it just worked out really well.
Great, well, congratulations. And we'll move on and focus on Delaware Transit now and your beach bus concept to serve the resort area of Delaware. So how did you come up with this concept? The video talked about how you had this service, but you wanted to re-envision it and rebrand it. So how did you come up with this particular concept?
Well, it was really perfect timing to rebrand. Our seasonal bus service, the startup of that service, coincided with the opening of a beautiful new park and ride. And we were also expanding our service. We were adding frequencies and adding extra hours to the service, so it really was the perfect time.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we really were looking to build awareness and increased utilization of our service. So it really worked out. It was a great opportunity.
You used some really interesting tactics. You used coasters, you had lifeguard stations, I believe, and did some very interesting things. And so what about the resources behind that? What kind of resources did it take for you to do some of these outside-the-box thinking tactics?
Well, we really wanted to hit everyone from the locals to the tourists. and really at all the various touch points. So we had to make sure our ads were where the people were. So we tied in the message, the whole DART to, at those areas. So DART to the nightlife, and that was great with the coasters and the table tents, and DART to the beach with the lifeguard stands. One of our buses we wrapped, and it said on the side, this line leads to tan lines, and it showed people sitting in beach chairs. So it was very eye-catching and really a lot of fun.
You know, that's part of, I think, what we all have an opportunity to do more of in transit in general, is to have more fun with it. It's a very serious topic area. Obviously, public transit is embedded in many people's lives, but sometimes it's about lightening up and having a little fun with it.
Absolutely. That's my next note, was have fun, and that's really what we did.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations. We'll loop back around with you guys. JC, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
So you guys didn't just launch a new fare system. This was a regional fare system, and so that has challenges in and of itself, looking beyond your agency in your other partners, which is the Portland Streetcar and C-Trans. So how did you guys all collaborate and make sure that you had this united vision?
Well, so the Streetcar and C-Trans were there from the beginning, obviously, because we were all investing in this new system. And when it came up with the campaign, TriMet did lead it, but our partners were right there alongside us, making all of the decisions. And as we mapped out the name, which went round, it took us a long time just to land on the name because of finding URLs and getting something trademarked. They were right there with us. And even when we started to deploy some of the messaging, they were right there at the table as we tried to hone it. And so I think that we have a better product because of that partnership.
And what have you heard from folks? What have you heard from the people, from the customers?
It's been really interesting because it's going very well. People are adopting it. A lot of the younger generation are adopting it very quickly, very easily, much like a Starbucks card or something like that on their app. But what's really been interesting for us is seeing our honored citizen crowd, which is elderly, those who are 65 plus, really taking to it and really adopting it faster than we ever thought. So that's been kind of interesting. Now it's that block in the middle that we still have to have them bring aboard.
Yeah, you mentioned in the video that you went through some different iterations of kind of the look and the feel and what that was. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we did. We actually, when we first started, we actually thought we had all of the messages mapped out, and with some work and some focus groups and stuff like that. And as we got closer to launch, we started tweaking them because we really used the feedback from our beta group. We actually launched a beta group. It was 500 people. And then every week, we started to bring more and more people on. And we started to get some really good feedback. And we started tweaking that message. And so our beta users, once we got reached 10,000 beta users, we turned the system on, essentially, so to speak. But those beta testers also were some of our biggest advocates in the social media. They were actually championing the entire product and coming to our defense versus our customer service folks. It was phenomenal. So,
is there anything else that was in particular surprising to you guys? Either something that did not go as well as you had hoped, or something that went way better than you guys expected, other than what you said with your beta testing?
No, I think that was really the big one, and that's why I've always given, whenever someone asks about launching a fare card or anything like that, it's the beta testers really gave us some really good feedback. And again, they were our biggest advocates in social media.
Yeah, thank you very much, and congratulations. And we'll move on to Tom with MCI. Congratulations. Now, Tom, last year, you guys did something that is unique and different than what bus manufacturers might typically do to roll out a new bus. And you guys did this whole dramatic unveiling, and I remember it last year in Atlanta at the APTA Expo. So what was the concept behind that, of thinking we have to do something different with this new coach?
Yeah, we were developing a very innovative new vehicle, and it's been years since we manufactured manufactured a new coach. So we felt we had a compelling vehicle that solved an obvious need, gap in the market. So it was very exciting. We were trying to find something, because the project took 4 years. So we were trying to find something over the years that, while remaining secretive, would still build a buzz, build excitement. So We spent a lot of time engaging various user groups, folks in the accessibility community, and also over that 4-year period, used a lot of different types of media to, again, build up that buzz for the grand unveiling. It was very exciting.
It was exciting. So what do you think that it can do for your industry partners?
Again, it kind of addresses a significant need in the transit space, which is providing improved accessibility for folks not only that are mobility challenged, but folks that are ambulatory and want to have quicker ingress and egress within the vehicle. It'll help the agencies with lowering the dwell time. It also will be easier in terms of maintenance, getting rid of the lift and having a ramp, much simpler mechanism for the agencies.
You know, all these elements that you're talking about that provide the enhanced coach experience, some of those might be hard to drill down and make tangible to the everyday person that might not know a lot about how buses are put together or the features of buses. So is there anything that you can offer to the industry on how you make those more personal, or how you connect the dots for people on these features that you have invented into the new coach?
A lot of, again, what we did over that 4-year period was engage the users, and taking the feedback and trying to incorporate that in the design was very important, and I think we found that it was something that a lot of OEMs didn't do, and we were very proud of the fact that, again, we had the end user community not only involved with the design and development, but also with the launch, and it was very exciting. I think that's something that other OEMs could take advantage of in terms of listening to their customers.
Yeah, well, that's really important. I think all of you guys have said that thinking about the customer, the various targeted audiences is a big part of this. I want to ask each of you now some of the same questions and have you just go down and answer. What would you say is one of your biggest lessons learned for each of you through these campaigns?
For us, I think it was having a solid vision and selling that vision to staff and letting them run with it, giving them the authority to take it and make something out of what we were trying to do. A lot of times I think we look past staff to try to get something accomplished, but the staff that we have at Waco Transit System is bar none the best that I've ever seen, and so they really engaged in this and put their personal touches on it. And so I think that's so important, is allowing your staff to be able to do that.
And Julie?
I think it's important to have the clear, concise message, just like you were talking about. And then with our system, being able to explain, it was easy to use. We had the color-coded routes and the corresponding bus stops with the color coding on them. And all of those things contribute to the customer experience. And I think the other thing we learned is that the paid social was huge for us.
Yeah.
What we did on Facebook, it's a great way to get the positive feedback. And we had tons of shares. There was one post, it was Dart to the Fireworks. We had over almost 2,000 reactions and 178 shares on just that individual post. So moving forward, we're going to be doing more of that.
Yeah. Powerful social media. JC?
I think for us, it was really not being afraid to take a risk or two. And I think for us, we were launching something that was really revolutionary, and we wanted a brand. And how many of us get to actually launch a brand in government? That doesn't happen very often at all. And so we wanted something that was we took a lot of risks with the name, with the colors, so it would stand out, with these animated cartoon characters that, brought life and brought personality to this brand. And so I think it was really taking some of those risks and really walking through them and changing it up if it didn't work very quickly. So, and we did a lot of different things. I mean, one of the things I don't know if any of you know this, but there's this thing called clean graffiti, where you take a stencil and you power wash it into a sidewalk. So it looks like graffiti, but it's actually, you just clean the sidewalk is essentially what you did. So it's like weird things like that, and finding those quirky things to try, take some risks, because I think sometimes we are so insulated.
That's great. I love that idea. You guys steal that idea. I've got some Metro people on there. I love that. And finally, MCI.
Yeah, I think building the excitement with all the stakeholders, and that's both the users, the ultimate customers, the operators, but also internally, the folks that are working on the project. So it's building the excitement, it's engaging folks, it's listening. One of the things that we're kind of taking from this project, again, which was multi-year, is to give just enough information to build the excitement, to use social media. It was very exciting to be part of that, where again you kind of built up, and I had the grand unveiling. One of the other aspects I think that we're coming away with is the concept of smart mobility, and it's incorporating accessibility, it's incorporating design cues, it's environmentally friendly, it's all these things into, it's driver automation, it's driver assist, so it's all these different components that kind of provide a framework for designing your vehicle future.
Well, thank you all very much. John from Waco Transit, Julie from Delaware Transit, JC from TriMet, and Tom from MCI. Congratulations, and let's give them another hand. Thanks very much. You guys can come on. You can just go down here. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Pauletta. Now for our second and final category, we will present 4 grand awards for the best education campaigns. These videos will introduce you to these AdWheel winners.
Welcome to the Triangle, home to top-tier universities, world-class hospitals, and a booming tech industry. The region, which houses Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, is experiencing rapid growth and increased congestion. GoTriangle is the regional public transportation provider with a mission to improve the quality of life by connecting people and places through safe, reliable, and easy-to-use travel choices.
Because there were a lot of people in our community who aren't familiar with transit, our marketing team was looking for a fun, engaging way to teach them how to ride. We wanted to answer the most common questions like where can I buy fare, how do I know which bus is mine, and what do I do when I need to get off the bus, and more. Our current how-to video was extremely outdated, so we got the team together and began brainstorming. We talked about doing a musical, carpool karaoke, perhaps a flash mob, and then we decided to do a music video.
So you wanna learn how to ride the bus. Sit down, chill out, and listen to us.
As the one with the most music knowledge, I went home and started writing some lyrics about how to ride the bus. I sent a video of me rapping over to Wendy and our videographer Stefan. They seemed to like it, so I reached out to various departments and made sure the lyrics were accurate to a rider's first-time experience. Then it came time to choose our rappers. It was really important to me that viewers not only see themselves on screen, but also a chance to empower our employees. So all 6 of our rappers actually work for GoTriangle.
Knowing we had a limited budget, we had to work creatively. We crafted a makeshift recording booth in-house and got started coaching and recording our rappers. After consulting out with the producer, a rap song was finalized and shooting was scheduled. With storyboard in hand, we set aside one hot Saturday in June to record our rap video. With the help of our rappers and transit ambassadors playing extras, we knocked out the majority of shooting in one 5-hour session. The whole thing was done with a budget of less than $500.
On June 14, 2017, we launched the video. Between Facebook and YouTube, it had over 25,000 views, plus hundreds of reactions, comments, and shares. So many people expressed interest in trying transit. The biggest lesson we learned is not to be afraid to take risks. In the end, we taught more people how to ride the bus.
Ride the bus, ride the bus. Come on, come on, come on and ride with us. Good for the planet, good for your stress. Come and put your commute to the test. Ride the bus, ride the bus. Come on, come on, come on and ride with us.
KCATA is the mobility manager for the Kansas City bi-state region, providing comprehensive, safe, and reliable travel. While most transit needs in KC are met by traditional bus service, Ride KC has innovated mobility as a service to include everything from BRT to streetcars to on-demand. Relationships built across geographic, corporate, and civic communities have resulted in remarkable partnerships. The KCK Library approached us with an idea to create a live-action version of the award-winning book Last Stop on Market Street, which takes place on a bus. We enthusiastically agreed to help bring this heartwarming tale to life. In the story, CJ and his grandmother ride a bus across town after church. With his grandma's help, CJ witnesses the beauty and good things that are on the bus and in everyday life.
The title of the book is Last Stop on Market Street. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. Nana, how come we don't got a car? Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis, who always has a trick for you. The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. One of the coolest parts about today is that I got to watch the book come to life, and I got to actually just kind of sit there and sort of let the action kind of happen. I love reading my books to kids because I feel like it's one thing to read a book, it's another thing to get the music of the text. They were sort of starting to understand what was happening. The book was coming alive, so they started to anticipate what was going to happen next. It's kind of the dream of any author. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song? CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky.
Across Facebook and YouTube, the 11-minute film has 50,000 views, many by classrooms and library groups. On top of the social media success, the video has won several short film awards.
Taking the LA Metro downtown. It's been a long day and your feet need a rest. You try to find a place to sit down, but somebody's hogging the only seat. So how will you sit? Don't be that guy taking up space with your stuff on the seats, or by spreading your legs. You're better than this. I know that it's true. You don't have to be rude, 'cause I believe in you. Don't be that guy taking up space with your stuff on the seats, or by spreading your legs. You're better than this. I know that it's true. You don't have to be rude, 'cause I believe in you.
スーパーカインドの交通機関案内。
迷惑ボーイ、メトロの邪魔者。
ここはなんとかしなくちゃ。
スーパーカインドの交通機関案内。
When you ride on the bus or rail, don't eat popcorn, meat, or kale. Food can smell and it makes a mess. Keep LA Metro clean and fresh. Come along with me, let's go. It's time to ride on the Metro. When eating food causes problems, you know Super Kind will be there to solve them. Come along with me, let's go. It's time to ride on the Metro. When eating food causes problems, you know Super Kind will be there to solve them.
Transit was founded in Montreal in 2012 to help commuters find their next bus or train. Now, our app works in 175 cities, helping millions of people get from A to B without their own car. Transit's team is made up of 35 committed engineers, designers, riders, and transit geeks. Right on launch, the app shows you all nearby transit options, alongside other modes like bike share, car share, ride hail, and e-scooters. With just a few taps, you can track your bus in real time, look up schedules, set up disruption alerts, get step-by-step directions, and more. The STM, Montreal's local transit agency, carries 1.4 million riders each day and is one of the biggest transit systems in North America. Until recently, Montreal was the largest North American city without real-time bus information. Montrealers were left wondering, when is my bus going to get here? That's why we developed Go, our crowdsourcing feature. Go allows users to share the real-time location of their bus, helping other riders down the line know when it will actually arrive. But we faced a challenge. How do you get commuters to voluntarily supply their bus location to other transit users while riding the bus? The answer? A user education campaign composed of online promotion, in-app engagement, and press outreach. As part of our online promotion, we produced a short video explaining how the new Go feature worked, as well as its benefits. Then we shared the video on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. It got over 100,000 views. We also wrote a blog post for the hardcore transit fans. That one got over 25,000 views. We then promoted Go to the hundreds of thousands of Montrealers already using transit. Our in-app features encourage them to use Go. It's one thing to inform users, but it's another to keep them interested. So we added some gamification features. Users could compete to become queen or king of their line. Transit would show them their overall stats over time and how many people they helped. To complete our promotional campaign, we reached out to the media. Bus riding reporters got pretty excited. Their articles helped Go reach hundreds of thousands of readers. That year, Go crowdsourced over 300,000 trips in Montreal. In fact, on our best performing line, the 55, about a third of all bus trips were crowdsourced. Today, the STM has real-time information, but Go crowdsourcing continues to supplement that data. Bolstered by Go's success in Montreal, we decided to launch a similar campaign in 3 other markets the following year. And this August, we launched crowdsourcing in each of our 175 supported cities, giving riders better data than ever before. Thank you for the award, APTA. Merci beaucoup.
What great work from these AdWheel winners. Let's have David, JC, and Pauletta please return to the stage to present our final 4 awards. Our first awardee in the educational category represents systems with fewer than 4 million annual riders. From North Carolina, come on up, GoTriangle, for your well-deserved Grand Award. Thank you, GoTriangle, for getting that song stuck in my head for probably the rest of the evening. The second Grand Award in the educational campaign category goes to the Kansas City Area Transportation Authority. Congratulations again to KCATA. The next transit system to receive a 2018 AdWheel Grand Award represents the largest agencies, with over 20 million annual riders. And the winner is the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority. Come on up. Fantastic accomplishment, LA Metro. I was hoping you guys would take the picture like this. You know? Okay, the final grand award for an educational campaign goes to an APTA business member. Please help me recognize Transit App. Congratulations to Transit App and all the Grand Award winners in the Educational Campaign category. Now it is JC's turn to kick off the final AdWheel panel.
Thank you. This is awesome. You guys did such a great job. I love these awards because I am in the midst of greatness. And it's so funny because every time I come and I see these things, I always go home and I'm like, how do we do this? Especially with different budgets and creative themes. So I have some questions for all of you to share your great ideas. Kicking it off, Mike, your idea was very organic, just very grassroots within your organization. Can you tell us a little bit about how you did that and what you were trying to solve?
I think mainly like LA Metro, we just wanted to get a catchy song stuck in everybody's head.
You already have done that.
No, aside from that, we're one of the fastest growing areas in the nation, but when it comes to transit use right now, we're relatively low. We've actually, in the Triangle area of North Carolina, we're less than 2% on average of people using public transportation to get around. We have a lot of businesses that are further distances out and people crossing counties, and so we've got the bus systems in place, but we're just now starting to build our region's first rail systems and bus rapid transit. And so as we're trying to educate people about what's coming online and more frequent bus service that's now there, we want to get more people just understanding that this system exists. And so the creation of this video was in part to try to come up with a new and catchy way just to let people know that we're on the map, that we're out there and that this is available. But also we know that one of the barriers for a lot of people who've never done this in our area is just that fear of the unknown and fear of asking the questions. Just how do I get information? How do I know where to catch the bus? How do I know to tell it when to stop? How do I pay for it? And so we decided to, right around National Dump the Pump Day, we'd been working up towards an idea. We launched the video then. We wanted to be something that, again, just explain the basics so people wouldn't feel dumb asking the question, but also to kind of put us out there and let people know who we are and what we're doing.
And so how did you find out that people were having a hard time understanding? Was it through customer complaints, surveys, focus groups? How did you settle in on that?
It was a lot through just organic public engagement, going out to community meetings. We've just, in the past 5 years, we've had 3 voter referendums approved in our 3 counties to make these big investments. And so as we went out to seek feedback on our transit plans and meet people and talk to people who hadn't used it before, we were getting just the basic questions like, I don't even know, how do I find a schedule? How do I know what's near my house? How do I know if I can use it? And so it was those questions coming up over and over again that triggered the idea.
That's awesome. You had made mention that your region, the Triangle region, is growing so quickly. I think I read a note that it's like 1,000 people a month that are moving into the area. So how are you using this campaign and really reaching out to folks, educating them to get them on the system?
Sure. Well, yeah, this is just one tool among many and many campaigns that we're pulling together to try to build awareness and to increase ridership. You know, like you, I came from a broadcast journalism background, so I'm a big believer in storytelling and video storytelling. So we launched a campaign a couple of years ago called Go Together, where we tell our rider stories. It started just going out into transit systems at first and talking to people and asking if we could ask them a few questions about why they use the system. And it built into kind of soliciting those ideas over social media or through our partners. And the idea behind it is we tell the real story of our commuters, whether they're biking to work or taking the bus or in a carpool. And we try to do these very often diverse group of people so we can look for representation. We want to have everyone in our community be able to see themselves in our transit system. So we started that campaign and it continued to build some momentum. We also, as we're building these new things, we're just getting started on light rail and commuter rail in our area and bus rapid transit. And so we've looked at video storytelling for that as well. I came and visited you guys out in Portland about 1.5 years ago and got some great video of the system, but also interviewed some of your customers just so people back home could see real people using the system and get to know what is light rail, what is commuter rail, how did these things work. We're also just trying to expand the ridership and the information out to all kinds of groups. We had an exciting initiative that just launched this past summer with our partners in the cities that surround the Triangle region, where we've started the new Youth Go Pass program. And now anyone under the age of 18 in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill can ride any of the buses for free. And those 13 and 18 come in and they actually get a card so that we can kind of track some of the interaction and see how they're using it. And we built the video storytelling campaign with teens telling that story. And then being involved in the community. We do a lot of community events. We want to stay connected. Just about 1.5 weeks ago, we had a major hurricane hit the state of North Carolina. And thankfully for us in the middle of the state, we were not impacted, but our neighbors to the east and the coastal areas were. So we just, last Thursday, did a big drive with our partners at United Way and the Food Bank and the local NBC affiliate. We filled 5 buses and 3 vans filled with supplies for hurricane victims, which we'll take down to their areas hardest hit tomorrow to drive down there.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
No, that's awesome. Mike, he actually did come out to TriMet and to tell the story of light rail and connecting communities, and he did a great job of telling our stories. So you're always welcome to come out to Portland and tell our story. Bridget, your live action book was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. It was beautifully done. How did you think about partnering with the libraries and the schools?
So really, we have to give full credit. The library approached us with the idea, and we recognized the genius of it and helped to add our spin to it. The author had just won an award, and they were able to invite him in for their annual Family Book Festival. And they said, let's do a retelling of this story on the bus, a live action version. And it made so much sense to us. As you said, it's a beautiful story. I thought it was a beautiful story. I love when I hear that it resonates so much with other people. And the partnership with the library was really a natural thing. I think libraries have a lot in common with public transit. We are all about connecting people to entertainment and skills and to employment. We all share resources. And so I think that the people who love libraries often love transit as well, and the industries both are full of people who are very passionate about helping people make connections and improve their lives and their quality of life.
That's awesome. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. It is just beautiful. So with the thousands of video views that people have seen this, how has it affected KCATA?
Well, what I loved about it is that all those views and the story are not necessarily something particularly shiny or high-tech. It's really reminding us of the connections that people can make, the beautiful and wonderful things, the serendipity of riding the bus, that yes, you may meet someone with a dog on the bus sometime, or somebody might be playing their guitar at the transit stop, and it's really a wonderful thing. And I think those of us who have ridden the bus or ridden the subways, that we remember some of those special moments, and seeing the story this way reminds us of those times when I saw Santa on the bus, or at least that 4-year-old thought it was Santa on the bus he was seeing, and what a great moment that was. So I think anybody who rides transit has those moments, and connecting to the realness that may not be shiny and may not be high-tech is a great thing.
Right. I think you're probably the only transit system that has won a film award.
Hooray.
Congratulations. So Glenn and the Rude Dude, Super Kind series, we know as folks working in the transit industry that etiquette aboard our buses and trains is one of the reasons why people don't ride. How did you come up with this concept?
Well, it was really kind of the creative genius of a lot of really smart people on my team, and I just got to say yes. But it was really a collaboration, and I'm really grateful. Our chief of security is here today. And his team gave input and was a big supporter of this. Our community relations group and our customer service groups gave feedback, and our research group gave us feedback on kind of the big issues that were facing our riders and why they were hesitant to ride or uncomfortable with their ride. And once we identified that, then we looked to the team to just think big and to go out there and identify a way to call out bad behavior without calling out maybe people, but just the behavior. So Rude Dude became the epitome of all bad behavior. And then Super Kind was our heroine to come in and make those corrections to help us Rude Dude be a better person. The interesting thing is this thing was a high production value, but we really didn't spend any money promoting it. It took a life of its own. It generated over 5 million views, which is unheard of. I think partially because it didn't fit the mold of a typical government PSA.
Yes.
And that's something that I'm very grateful. Our chief communications officer, Pauletta, who you all know, our CEO, they've unleashed us to think beyond the traditional government PSA and to do things differently. And we kind of blew it out of the box that way. I mean, we ended up getting recognized by organizations like AdWeek and LA Magazine and other publications that wouldn't otherwise recognize a transit effort.
Right.
And then we started to find that this thing generated an international audience. So we were getting feedback from customers or people in Russia and in Italy and Sweden and Japan. It just took on a life of its own. So the benefit of that is that we really didn't spend any money on the advertising, though we put the money into the production, and it really reached this really giant audience. Obviously, we want to focus on the folks in Los Angeles, and we were able to accomplish that. But we did it in a way that that really kind of generated a life of its own, and still to this day is out there, generating more views. We just unleashed the new 3 versions, and so we'll hopefully see you next year.
So a lot of us have tried doing these etiquette campaigns, and some people would say, people who are going to be, rude on a bus, they're not going to download a video, they're not going to look at the sign or whatever. Tell me a little bit about what went behind that. Was there some of that conversation in the back room around that?
Absolutely, and that really spoke to not creating just another government PSA.
Right.
Right. We needed to do something that was edgy, something that was outrageous, that would catch people's attention. You know, people's attention is this short nowadays.
Shorter.
And if you don't catch them in the first 3 seconds, you've lost them. This thing, the first thing you hear is Japanese, and people looked at it, and even my own boss said, "Why the Japanese?" Well, it got your attention. And so the first thing we did is wanted to draw people's attention to this, because once we had them in those first couple of seconds, even the rude dudes of the world, stayed and, paid attention. But it was also a way to educate our good riders of what they should expect and that they don't deserve less than
Right.
good behavior. And so it really was both speaking to the potential offenders as well as the folks that are riding, and doing it right every day, and what they should demand and what they should expect. Because we all know that when you're in a social setting, and the train, the bus, is a very social setting, you create communities within those environments.
Right.
That when you set a good standard, and if everybody in there is setting a good standard of behavior, you're less likely to be rude. You're less likely to act out because you're going against the social norm.
Right.
It's not true 100% of the time, but when you create a good environment inside of those communities, then you're more apt to get good behavior by all the riders.
With the millions of views that have been seen, delivered, has the campaign made a difference?
Yeah, we absolutely believe it has. And again, more so for the riders that are doing it right every day, to know that we're taking them serious, that we're listening to what their demands are, what they expect of us as an agency, and that we're not going to accept less than that kind of behavior for them every day. So I believe it's had a twofold effect in addressing the issues, as well as reinforcing that our riders are being heard.
Thank you. That's great. I'll be back for another question with you, so don't stand by. Jake, your Go app really depends a lot on people sharing real-time data. How did you get people to participate? And tell us a little bit about the privacy concerns too.
Sure. So I guess I can start by saying that on a privacy concern side, people aren't sharing their location. They're sharing the location of their bus with us, and more importantly, with other riders. But so one of the big things for us, though, was that this was all opt-in. We're not doing this in the background. Riders basically had to volunteer and say we were going to share this information with other riders. And so we took this, from a few different ways to make this successful. So the first thing being that there are already millions of people who use the app every single day. So any sort of crowdsourcing initiative where you say, you want people to generate real-time data has to start there. The next thing we did is we said, okay, how do we build a feature around this? And so we built Go, which is a step-by-step navigator. It tells you when to leave to catch your bus. It tells you, if your real-time prediction of the bus jumps ahead, it tells you to hurry up to catch that bus. When you're on that bus, it'll tell you, when to get off in case you're sleeping or and you missed your stop, so you pull the bell. So we used that feature to help people. So they wanted to use it. And in the process, by using that feature, we were able to track the location of that bus that you'd share with other riders. At the same time, we also engaged people in the app. We taught them about the feature. We put a big banner across the app that said, hey, here's how this works. But all that's great. I think the question is, how do you get people who tried this feature out, liked it, to keep using it? And so, one of the big reasons that people might not want to is it takes battery life. When you're sharing your location,
Right.
it uses battery life. I bet everyone in this room right now knows exactly how much battery life is on their phone. And so, how do you do that? Well, you make it competitive. It's one thing to be altruistic. It's one thing when you can quantify how altruistic you are. And so when you use this feature, it would tell you how many riders you helped, and you'd rank on your line, where you are. So you could, if you were number one, you could be king or queen of your transit line. And I think that's, people associate with their transit line. They have a sense of pride if they take it every day. And this idea that I am the king of the line, just like Foursquare back in the day had, mayor.
Right.
We really like that concept, and so we sort of molded it after that.
The technology is definitely one of those things that's going to help us as we all try to build ridership, right? Because we're used to the user experiences that Lyft and Uber deliver up, right? Which is much like you're doing right now. So as you've expanded to other cities, what have you heard from other folks about how and what kind of improvements you'd make? What are they looking for? What are they wanting?
Sure. I guess I'll start by saying that, we first turned this on in Montreal, then we launched it in a few other pilot cities, and then, as you saw in the video, we spread this to 175 cities that we're currently in across North America, Europe, Australia. And I think, what we've realized is that the single most important feature in any public transit app is real-time information, hands down. And I think we often think, and when I say we, I mean transit agencies, cities, app developers, think of real-time information as binary. You have it or you don't have it. It's one or the other. And once you have it, it's there, and that's all you need to do. But what we've realized is people don't often understand that the accuracy is not necessarily great, or the predictions are not necessarily great, and it's sort of this blind spot. And so, that includes us, right? One of the biggest piece of feedback we get from riders about our app is, love your app, but at this time or this day, you got the time that the bus was going to show up wrong. And we get that data directly from transit agencies. So we really thought about it. How can we independently improve the accuracy of data, be good partners to transit agencies who maybe don't have the budget to deploy a massive new system of CAT AVL system? And so maybe this will help. And so today we look at it as not replacing transit agency data, but augmenting it with riders.
I love the whole rewards thing too. I think that's amazing. Do you give out like scepters and crowns for these folks?
Not yet, but a lot of users wanted these socks that we were giving out today, so they saw that. I don't know if we can do that, but
nice. So one question for all of you to answer, and that's, what is the biggest idea that you learned through all of this that you would want to impart on the rest of us here in the crowd?
Sure. Two-parter for us. I think one that a lot of people have said, don't be afraid to be creative and think outside of the box, but also don't be afraid to promote that creativity as a news item. If it's something different that you never tried, we sent out a news release telling people that this local transit agency has just created a rap video to tell people how to use the bus. And we got a pickup on several of the local news stations. Our local newspaper picked it up and called us up and asked if it was okay to embed the video on their site. We all know that every organization is looking to get more clicks and more eyes on video now. So we did that, and now every time the newspaper writes a story about a new transit investment, they pop that video right back up in their feeds because they're getting the views. And then the other part of that has really gone a long way for us internally is the employee pride part. And as you heard in the video, all of our rappers and actors are employees. We use a lot of our employees in a lot of our other videos, and we've really seen from our bus operators, mechanics, all the way up to the finance department, when they get involved, they get really excited about this, and they have a lot of pride in what they're doing to be a part of this.
That's awesome. Do they get royalties?
Yeah, we told Sam, who wrote the song, has put the song on YouTube or on iTunes, so you can go out and buy it. We told her that she needs to raise about 130 million views so that we can pay for the light rail system. Exactly right. Yep.
Bridget, same question.
I think for us it was really driving home the importance of community and personal connections, that people connect to their bus driver, the person that they wait for the bus with every day, that those connections are important. And just that good video can have such a powerful impact. One of our board members said to me, I teared up when I watched that. And I'm like, yes, that is the best review of a video I can get. And it was an 11-minute video, and people stuck around through it. It was that good. So even the simple but the truly heartfelt things will get people engaged and remind them why they like to ride the bus.
Nice. There's always a sequel. Is there a sequel to this?
I don't think there is, but we'll talk to the author and the illustrator, see what we can do.
Sounds good. Glenn?
Yeah, I think it's really just unleashing your staff. We are really lucky, and and I have a chance to work every day with a really talented staff, and I have a boss who has a boss that has unleashed us to just be creative, to think outside the box, to not limit our thinking on what's possible. We can always scale back if we need to, but it's much harder to to scale it down and then to try to scale it up. If they come back and say, well, why didn't you think bigger? So the one thing is I would say just unleash your staff, let them think big, let them go outside the box. If it seems wacky, let them be wacky. Because in this world, if you're not getting people's eyeballs, if you're not getting them to pay attention, and if you're not doing it within the first couple of seconds, you're wasting your efforts. And we in government, in transit, we can't waste that effort. Because once you lose that, their attention or that rider, a lot of times they're gone forever. So it's go be wacky.
And the new videos are online?
The new videos are online. They've been out for about a week and a half. And they're even cooler than the last ones.
Just so you know, so my staff actually, they brought me the video and they said, how can we do this? And I go,
I just need money.
But the fun thing was we actually, in this second part, we incorporated a local celebrity as well, Danny Trejo, who's been in a bunch of movies, and he plays always a really tough, rude, mean, and you'll have to see it. He's really great in this, and it adds a lot to it. So it's a lot of fun.
Definitely looking forward to them. Thank you so much. Jake?
Yeah, I think even from the early days of the app, we've been very interested about the community in the app. So I'll tell a quick story of a project we did about 3 or 4 years ago, a little side project. So the STM, the transit agency in Montreal, had put out for a hackathon all of this fare card data, which recorded when people would tap onto the bus, you'd have a record of which card tapped onto the bus. And so it was a little side project for one of our engineers. What he did was he looked at, well, if you tap onto the bus like every single day, what is the likelihood that you are going to recognize other people in that bus? Because you could see if the fare cards tapped one after another. So we wrote a blog post about it that we called Familiar Strangers, which was, well, if you ride, let's say, the 55 bus every single day at 8 a.m., what is the likelihood that you'll see one person you recognize, 3 people, 5 people, and so on? And we did that for every single line in the whole system. And so I think that was like one of the early, one of the ways that we started early on thinking about the idea of community. So that led into what we did with crowdsourcing, which was how can people help each other? I think we often think of our riders as passive recipients of technology, where very often they can actually be contributors to it. So I think this has just been just a continued philosophy at Transit of how do we build this community around our app.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving us such good advice and some background on all those things that you were doing. Congratulations. Jake, Glenn, Bridget, Mike, thank you. And please, can we have a round of applause for our folks? Amy? Thank you.
Well, thank you, JC and Pauletta, for moderating today, and to David for joining us. I know I've learned a lot from all 8 of today's Grand Award winners, and I hope you in the audience did as well. As you saw, all of today's AdWheel Grand Award winners demonstrated the strategic importance of marketing and communications. And I'd really encourage you when you leave this room, we could obviously have fit more people. So if you enjoyed this, please tell your peers and your colleagues so we can get more people to attend and see this great event. So to see all of this year's entries, you can go to apta.com/adwheel. And this concludes our AdWheel ceremony today. It has been my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing what new ideas you all come up with to advance the industry in 2019.